Here we have it. Today I got a closer look at the Meta Quest 3S. I'm here at Meta Connect in my hotel in sunny Palo Alto to share my first impressions of this new mixed reality headset. So what's the deal with the Quest 3S? For starters, it's the most affordable entry into mixed reality, with the base model starting at $300 for 128 gigs and a 256 gigs version for $400. What makes this pricing interesting is the gap it fills. With this, the 128 gigs version of the Quest 3 is being phased out. So the next option up is the 512 gigs version of the Quest 3 at $500. So the Quest 3S offers a more budget-friendly middle ground for those not ready to jump to the higher-priced Quest 3. You're still getting full color pass-through and access to the entire Quest ecosystem, which means the same VR and MR content library as the pricier models. But they've made quite a few trade-offs to hit that lower price point, so how does it really stack up? Is it worth upgrading from an older Quest, or should you stick with what you've got? To find out, join me beyond reality. Quick heads up, MetaQuest covered my travel for this event, but all opinions here are 100% my own and they did not review this video before it went live, so let's dive into the design first. The Quest 3S feels like a mix between the Quest 2 and 3. It's about 20% slimmer than the Quest 2, but still not as thin as the Quest 3. It's also heavier than the Quest 2 and roughly the same weight as the Quest 3. But here's the catch. Balance is key when it comes to comfort in VR. The Quest 3S tends to be more front-heavy, especially with the soft strap it comes with, which isn't ideal for extended sessions. A major reason for this is that it uses an older optical stack, which we'll dive into a bit more later. After about 10 minutes, I really started to feel the weight pulling forward. So an Elite strap might be a worthwhile upgrade, but we'll talk about accessories later on. In terms of build quality, it feels sturdy, like the front retains a lot of design elements from the Quest 2. If you've used that headset before, this will feel very familiar. The IPD adjustments is the same, offering 3 fixed positions at 58, 63 and 68 millimeters. One downside is that these fixed settings don't allow for precise alignment with your eyes, which might affect the sharpness of the display. However, as long as your IPD is close to one of these presets, you should be fine. My IPD is around 59 and 60 millimeters, so I used the lowest setting, and while it's not perfect, it's good enough for me. The facial interface is also removable and there's a glass spacer for those who need it. One small note, I'm using a different face cover right now, a new one that's more breathable with mesh lining on the sides, which does let in some light. It's not a deal breaker for me, but if you're sensitive to light leaks, the standard cover is the better option. The default cover has solid black sides that block out lights completely, which is great if you're aiming for full immersion. Although there is no nose flap anymore, so if you have a small nose like me, well then there is some light bleed at the bottom. But here's where things get interesting. The Quest 3S has the same Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 processor as the Quest 3, which means double the GPU power compared to older models. It also has 8 gigs of RAM instead of 6. So in short, it's got the horsepower to run the same games as the Quest 3, which is pretty impressive for a budget-friendly headset. However, and this is key, it still uses the older optical stack from the Quest 2. That means older Fresnel lenses and LCD screens, so the visuals are not quite as sharp as the Quest 3, which has upgraded pancake lenses. The resolution is lower too at 1832 x 1920 pixels per eye with 20 pixels per degree. Fresnel lenses have always had a few disadvantages. They have a smaller sweet spot, that's the area where the image looks the sharpest. So if your eyes shift too far out of that zone, things get a little blurry. Plus, there's more glare when you have bright objects on dark backgrounds. Not too noticeable during gameplay, but if you're watching movies in VR, it can be a bit distracting. It's kind of like watching a movie with someone flashing a dim flashlight at you every now and then. And the field of view is the same as the Quest 2, 96 degrees horizontally and 90 degrees vertically. Not bad, but again, not as wide as the Quest 3. So while the extra horsepower gives you better graphics performance, the visuals might still disappoint if you've experienced the clarity of the Quest 3. Now, I've been comparing this a lot with the Quest 3, but here's the thing. If you haven't tried the Quest 3, or you don't want to buy one because it's maybe out of your budget, these trade-offs might not be a big deal. It's still a solid headset with good visuals for the price, but we'll save the final verdict for later. First, let's dive into one of its key selling points. The Quest 3S comes equipped with two front-facing RGB cameras for full-color stereoscopic pass-through. This is a huge leap from the black and white pass-through on the Quest 2. Trust me, once you've experienced color pass-through, there is no going back. The resolution on these cameras is 4 megapixels with 18 ppd, which is a big upgrade from the Quest 2. When comparing the Quest 3S to the Quest 3, the 3S pass-through is a bit softer and less sharp, but still quite solid. I can still read from my phone, for example, and I'm not entirely sure if the difference was due to the lighting conditions when I tested both, so I'll need to revisit this to confirm if it's a real difference. But that said, both headsets use the same software, which does a great job of smoothing out the visuals, making it comfortable for longer sessions. Like I could walk around in the pass-through with no problemo. I also didn't notice any latency or frame rate issues during my demo, which is definitely a plus. Personally, I've been really enjoying mixed reality games on the Quest, and Meta has been leaning into making these headsets a productivity tool too, so you can use 2D apps, multitask, and pretty much turn it into a mini workspace. So it makes sense that even their most budget-friendly headset supports full color pass-through as they push towards blending MR gaming with productivity. I think this feature alone adds a lot of value to the Quest 3S, especially considering its price point. Tracking feels as good as any other Quest headset, but I've only spent about 45 minutes with the Quest 3S, so it's too early for a full judgment. So far though, it's been solid. The 3S uses 4 VGA sensors for inside-out tracking, and I didn't run into any issues during my playtests. I tried high-action games too, like Supernatural and Batman Arkham Shadow, great game by the way, and everything tracked smoothly. The controllers are the same as those on the Quest 3, nothing new here. They still feel ergonomic in my hands, and I'm a fan of the haptics. I think they're great controllers. There are also flood LEDs on the 3S which help improve hand tracking, especially in low light environments. I'll dig deeper into hand tracking once I've spent more time with a review unit, but so far it feels responsive. Interestingly, the battery life has seen a slight boost despite having a lower milliampere per hour, up to 2.5 hours on average compared to the Quest 3 2.2 hours. It's not a huge improvement, but every little bit helps, right? As for audio, from what I've heard, it's the same as what you get on the Quest 3. Nothing revolutionary, it's decent enough for short play sessions where you're casually playing, but you will want to connect USB-C or Bluetooth headphones if you want better audio. Keep in mind there is no more audio jack to keep that price down. Now, I haven't had the chance to test the microphone yet, but I've heard the Quest 3S has 2 mics instead of 3, so I'll have to check out how that affects voice quality. Meta has also shown a range of accessories for the Quest 3S. You've got the Elite strap for better comfort, and an Elite strap with battery that can extend your playtime by up to 2 hours. If you're into intense gameplay or workouts, the active straps with the knuckle grips will keep your controllers secure, and there are also prescription lens options from Zenni, a breathable facial interface for comfort, which is the one I've been showing you with the mesh lining, and the link cable still works to play PC VR games while plugged in. Of course, you can also do it wirelessly, and if you're always on the go, the compact carrying case will keep everything neatly packed, although I did hear it doesn't fit the Elite strap. Another one for traveling is this compact charging dock that charges your controllers and has a cable to charge your headset as well. I think they're great essentials for this headset, and I definitely personally recommend getting the Elite battery strap and perhaps the active straps for the controllers if you're looking to get this headset. The rest, I would wait for third parties to release their accessories because they're usually cheaper and some are better. Now, here's the bottom line. The Meta Quest 3S is better than the Quest 2 in many ways. Full color pass-through and that upgraded processor opens up more possibilities, especially with mixed reality. But if you already have a Quest 3, the 3S is actually a downgrade, so it isn't as exciting for current Quest 3 users. However, at $300, the Quest 3S is an incredible entry point into VR and MR, especially for newcomers and those upgrading from an older model like the Quest 2. That said, if you're thinking long term, there might be another headset on the horizon next year that could even top the Quest 3, so some of you might want to hold off. But if you can't wait for another year, there is one thing that I do like is that at launch of the Quest 3S, you will get Batman Arkham Shadow included along with a 3-month trial of MetaQuest Plus, giving you access to a rotating selection of games for free. Plus, with the 128 gigs version of the Quest 3 being phased out, the only option left is the 512 gigs model at $500, so if you're on a budget, the 3S is a much cheaper option right now, especially since at this price you're still getting access to the same ecosystem and content library, which makes it fantastic value for the content alone. So what do you think? Are you planning on grabbing the Meta Quest 3S or are you holding out for something else? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, these were my first impressions, so my full in-depth review is coming later once I got more time with the device. So hit that subscribe button if you want to stay in the loop. I'll leave a link below if you're interested. It is an affiliate link, so no pressure to use it, but if you do, it helps support the channel and allows me to improve the content further. Alright, see you in the next one. Much love!